You have just survived the morning meeting. You successfully introduced yourself to the boss, you found your desk, you logged into your computer, and you even remembered where the bathroom is. You feel good. You feel professional. But then it happens. You decide to take a break. You walk to the coffee machine in the kitchen area. You are standing there, waiting for your cup to fill up, and suddenly a colleague walks in. They smile at you. They look like they want to talk. Your heart starts beating fast. This is the moment you have been dreading. It is not the formal meeting. It is the casual, unstructured moments in between the work. They ask you a question. Maybe they say, "So, how is your first day going?" And your mind goes blank. You freeze. You just want to say, "Fine, thank you," and run away. Welcome back to Talk About It in English. I am Sarah, and today we are going to solve this exact problem. And joining me today is Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Sarah. It is great to be here. And yes, that situation you just described, that is the nightmare scenario for so many of our listeners. I remember when I was learning a second language, the meetings were actually easier because I had a script. I knew what to expect. But the coffee machine, the elevator, those 5 minutes before a Zoom call starts, those are terrifying because there is no script. You do not know what is coming.
Exactly, Mark. That is why today we are not talking about business English. We are not talking about how to make a presentation or how to negotiate a contract. We are talking about the glue that holds the office together. We are talking about small talk. Specifically, we are going to teach you a technique that will stop you from freezing. We call it the AAA technique.
I love the AAA technique. It saved me so many times. It stands for answer, add, and ask. It is a simple 3-step formula that you can use in almost any casual conversation. It stops that awkward silence where you just stare at each other.
Right, because the biggest mistake learners make is that they treat a conversation like an interrogation. Someone asks a question, and the learner gives a short one-word answer. Mark, let's show them what that sounds like. I will be the colleague, and you be the nervous new employee who is nervous.
Okay, I am ready. I am the nervous new guy.
So, Mark, how was your commute in this morning?
Good.
Okay, that was painful. It was terrible, right? I felt terrible saying it. You asked me a nice question, and I basically shut the door in your face. I said good, and then I stopped talking. Now you, the colleague, have to do all the work to keep the conversation going. It makes me look unfriendly, or maybe just boring. Exactly, and that is what we want to avoid. You are not unfriendly, you are just worried about your English. So the AAA technique fixes this. Let's break it down. The first A stands for answer. You answer the question directly. That's the easy part. The second A stands for add. This is the magic key. You need to add one small piece of extra information. We call this the hook. It gives the other person something to catch on to. And the third A stands for ask. You have to pass the ball back to them. You ask a related question. So it's like a game of tennis. If I just hold the ball, the game stops. If I throw the ball back, the game continues. Let's try that commute scenario again. But this time I will use the answer, add, ask formula.
Okay, ready?
So Mark, how was your commute in this morning?
It was actually pretty smooth, thanks. I took the bus, and surprisingly, it wasn't crowded at all. How do you usually get to the office?
Wow, that was so much better. I feel like we are actually having a conversation now.
It felt better too. Let's look at what I did. First, I answered. I said, it was actually pretty smooth, thanks. Then I added information. I said, I took the bus, and surprisingly, it wasn't crowded at all. That's the detail. I told you about the bus, I told you about the crowd. And finally, I asked. I said, how do you usually get to the office? That is perfect. And notice, listeners, Mark didn't use complicated grammar. He used simple past tense. But because he followed the pattern, he sounded fluent and confident. This is what we are going to practice today. We are going to look at 3 classic first-day scenarios: the commute, the office environment, and the weekend. And before we dive in, if you want to speak about your life in English and not just study grammar rules, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We help you talk about real life every single week. All right, let's start with scenario 1, the commute. This is the safest topic in the world. Everyone travels to get to work, unless you work from home. But even then, you can talk about moving from your bed to your desk. In most offices, asking about the journey is the standard way to break the ice. It is safe because it's not personal. You are not asking about their family or their money. You are complaining about traffic or trains. Everyone loves to complain about traffic. It is a universal bonding experience. So imagine you have just arrived. You are taking off your coat,
A colleague is sitting at the next desk. They ask you, did you have any trouble finding the place? Or how was the traffic?
Let's build some vocabulary for the answer part first. You don't want to just say good or bad. We want to be a little more descriptive. Mark, what are some good words for a good commute?
If it was easy, you can say it was smooth. Smooth means no problems, no stops. You can say it was quick, or you can say it was an easy drive.
And if it was bad?
Oh, if it was bad, you have lots of options. You can say it was a nightmare. A nightmare. That is a very common way to exaggerate. You can say it was bumper to bumper. That refers to the cars being so close that their bumpers are touching. Or you can simply say it was really crowded.
Okay, let's practice the AAA technique for a bad commute. I will ask the question. Mark, you use the technique.
Ready.
Hey, you made it. How is the traffic out there?
Honestly, it was a bit of a nightmare. There was an accident on the highway, so I sat in the same spot for 20 minutes. Do you drive in every day?
Excellent. Let's analyze that. Answer, it was a bit of a nightmare. Add, there was an accident on the highway, so I sat in the same spot for 20 minutes. Ask, do you drive in every day? Now, listeners, I want you to notice something about the ask part. Mark didn't just say, and you. Saying and you is okay, but it is a little lazy. It is better to ask a specific question related to the topic. Instead of and you, he asked, do you drive in every day? This shows you are interested in their routine.
That is a great point, Sarah. Changing "and you" to a specific question makes you sound much more advanced. It gives the other person a specific prompt to answer.
Let's do a shadowing exercise. This is where you practice with us. We will say a phrase, then we will pause, and you repeat it out loud. Try to match our speed and our intonation. Do not just say it in your head. Your mouth needs to practice the movement. We will do the 3 parts of Mark's answer. Repeat after me. Honestly, it was a bit of a nightmare. Honestly, it was a bit of a nightmare. Now the add part. Repeat after me. There was an accident, so I was stuck for 20 minutes. There was an accident, so I was stuck for 20 minutes. Now the ask part. Repeat after me. Do you drive in every day? Do you drive in every day? Great job. Now try to put it all together. Imagine I just asked you about the traffic. Say the whole thing. Go. Okay, I hope you said it out loud. It feels different when you actually speak, doesn't it?
It really does. And don't worry if you stumble. The goal is connection, not perfection. Let's move to scenario 2, the office environment.
This usually happens later in the morning or at lunch. You are walking around, maybe you are looking for the bathroom or the water cooler or a place to get a sandwich. This is a prime opportunity for small talk.
The mistake here is to just ask for information like a robot. Excuse me, where's the coffee? Thank you. That gets you the coffee, but it doesn't build a relationship.
Exactly. We want to turn that request for information into a conversation using AAA. But this time, the order might change slightly. You might ask first, then add, then answer, or mix it up, but the elements are the same. Let's stick to the answer, add, ask structure for when someone asks you a question. Imagine you are standing in the break room looking confused. A colleague says, "Can I help you find something?" Or, "Are you settling in okay?"
This is a very common question. Are you settling in okay? It means, is everything going well? Do you have what you need? Let's try a bad example first. Mark? So, are you settling in okay?
Yes, thanks.
See? It stops dead. I have nowhere to go. I feel like I am bothering you.
Now let's use AAA. But since the question is, are you settling in okay? The answer will be positive. The add will be a detail about the office. And the ask will be for a recommendation.
Okay, let's try it. So, are you settling in okay?
Yes, everyone has been really helpful so far. I'm just trying to figure out the coffee machine. It looks like a spaceship. Is there a special trick to use it?
I love that. You added humor. That is advanced, but very effective.
Let's break it down. Answer, yes, everyone has been really helpful. Add, I'm just trying to figure out the coffee machine. It looks like a spaceship. Ask, is there a special trick to use it?
By comparing the machine to a spaceship, you are making a little joke about how complicated it is. This invites the other person to laugh and help you. It builds a bond. Us against the machine.
What if you don't want to make a joke? What if you just want to talk about food? Food is the second safest topic after weather and traffic.
That is a great strategy. Let's say someone asks, how is your first morning going? You can transition to lunch.
Let's try that. How is your first morning going?
It's going quickly, thanks. I've been reading through the training manuals, so I'm actually getting pretty hungry. Is there a good sandwich place nearby that you recommend?
Perfect. Answer, going quickly. Add, reading manuals, getting hungry. Ask,
is there a good place nearby?
Notice the ask again. It is not just "and you," it is asking for a recommendation. People love giving recommendations. It makes them feel like the expert. If you ask a colleague, "Where is the best burger?" or "Where do you guys usually go for lunch?" they will probably invite you to join them. That is the secret goal of the first day lunch question. You want an invitation without asking for an invitation. If you ask, "Is there a good place nearby?" usually they will say, "Oh, we are actually going to a place in 10 minutes. You should come." But if they don't invite you, that is okay too. At least you have a recommendation and a nice conversation. Let's do some shadowing for this food scenario. This is a very useful pattern. Repeat after me. It's going well, but I'm getting pretty hungry. It's going well, but I'm getting pretty hungry. Repeat after me. I don't know this area very well yet. I don't know this area very well yet. Repeat after me. Is there a good place for lunch nearby? Is there a good place for lunch nearby? Now let's combine them into a smooth flow. Listen to the rhythm. It is going well, but I'm getting pretty hungry since I don't know this area yet. Is there a good place for lunch nearby? Now you try it. Excellent. You know, Sarah, one thing I notice with learners is that they are afraid to admit they don't know something. They think they need to look perfect on the first day. But phrases like, "I don't know this area yet," or "I am still learning the names," are actually very strong. They show humility and give the other person a chance to help. Absolutely. People like to help. It makes them feel good. So giving them a chance to help you is actually a social gift. Let's move to scenario 3, the life outside work. This usually happens at the end of the day, maybe in the elevator or on a Friday, or maybe on a Monday morning. The question is usually, do you have any plans for the evening, or what are you doing after work? Now, a warning here. In English-speaking cultures, particularly in the US, UK, Canada, Australia, this question is friendly, but it is not an investigation. You don't need to give a 20-minute report on your evening, but you also shouldn't say nothing. Right. If you say nothing, it sounds like you are depressed or you have no life. Even if you are just going to go home and sleep, you can make it sound pleasant. Let's apply AAA to the end of the day question. Mark, imagine we are walking to the elevator at 5 p.m. Got it. Whew, long day, right? Do you have any plans for the evening? Yeah, I'm pretty tired, so I'm just going to relax. I might try to catch up on a new series on Netflix. Are you watching anything good right now? Ooh, that is a good one. TV shows are a great connection point. Let's analyze. Answer, I'm pretty tired, so just relaxing. Add, I might catch up on a new series on Netflix. Ask, are you watching anything good right now? This works because almost everyone watches TV or movies. If they say no, I don't watch TV, then you can pivot. But 90% of the time they will say, oh, I just started watching such and such, and boom, you have a conversation. What if you actually have plans? Maybe you are meeting a friend? Then say that, but remember the ask. Do not just talk about yourself. Let's try a version where you are active. So, Mark, any plans for tonight? Yes, actually, I'm meeting a friend for dinner downtown. We haven't seen each other in ages, so I'm really looking forward to it. Do you have any fun plans? Nice and simple. Answer, meeting a friend. Add, haven't seen them in ages. Ask, do you have any fun plans? Notice the vocabulary, ages. We haven't seen each other in ages. It means a long time. It is a very natural, native-sounding phrase. I haven't eaten in ages. I haven't been there in ages. Let's shadow that specific phrase, because it makes you sound very natural. Repeat after me. We haven't seen each other in ages. We haven't seen each other in ages. Now let's shadow the question. Do you have any fun plans? Do you have any fun plans? Sarah, what if the person says, no, just going home? How do I respond to that? I used my AAA, I asked them, and they gave me a short answer. That happens. Sometimes people are tired. If they give a short answer, you can just use a closing phrase to end the conversation politely. You don't need to force it. You can say, fair enough, have a good night, or sounds nice and relaxing, see you tomorrow. The goal of AAA is to open the door. If they don't walk through it, that is fine. You did your job. You were friendly, you were open, and you spoke English. One common fear I hear from our students is, what if I ask and then they start talking really fast and I don't understand the answer? That is a real fear. You ask, are you watching anything good?
and they say, "Oh yeah, I'm watching this documentary about underwater basket weaving and the socio-political implications of," and you are lost. If that happens, do not panic. You have two options. One, you can be honest. You can say, "I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. My English is still warming up." Usually they will laugh and slow down. Or you can use the mirror technique. Just repeat the last word they said with a question mark. Basket weaving?
Exactly, and then they will explain it simply. But honestly, most of the time, small talk is simple. People talk about food, traffic, weather, sports, and weekend plans. The vocabulary is repetitive. Let's do one big final practice. We are going to mix it up. I am going to ask Mark a random question from one of our 3 scenarios, and he has to use AAA on the spot. And listeners, I want you to pause the video after I ask and try to give your own answer before Mark does. Okay, I'm ready. Put me in the hot seat. Scenario: it is Friday afternoon, you are packing up your bag, I walk by. Hey Mark, any big plans for the weekend? Not really, just taking it easy. I need to do some grocery shopping and maybe clean the apartment. Glamorous life, right? Do you have anything exciting planned? Nice, you used sarcasm in the ad part, glamorous life. Yeah, cleaning is not glamorous, so saying it is represents a little joke. It shows personality. Let's try one more. Scenario: we are in the elevator, it is Monday morning. So, how was your weekend? It was really good, thanks. I actually went hiking just outside the city. The weather was perfect for it. Did you get up to anything nice? Perfect. Did you get up to anything nice is a great alternative to what did you do? It sounds very friendly and casual. So let's recap the strategy. When you are on your first day, or any day, and someone asks you a casual question, do not freeze. Do not just say, fine. Remember AAA. Answer the question, add a detail, a hook, ask a related question. This takes the pressure off you. Once you ask, the other person starts talking, and you can just relax and listen. It makes you a better conversationalist because you are showing interest in them. And here is my challenge for you. This is the next step. I want you to practice this tomorrow, but you don't even have to do it in English yet. Try it in your native language first. When someone asks you, "How are you?" do not just say, "Fine." Force yourself to answer, add, and ask. Feel how the conversation changes. Feel how the energy changes. Once you feel comfortable with the rhythm, try it in English. Write your best answer plus add plus ask script in the comments below. Pick a scenario, traffic, lunch, or weekend, and write out what you would say. I will read them and give you feedback on your hooks and your questions. And if you are feeling confident with small talk now, you might be wondering, okay, but what happens when they ask me about my job history? That is a bigger topic. You need to know how to talk about your past experience without getting tangled in grammar. Exactly. You don't want to mix up I worked and I have worked. Right. So that is why we have a video specifically on talking about your previous job. It's the perfect next step after this one. You can click right here to watch it. Thank you so much for joining us today on Talk About It in English. Remember, conversation is not a test. It is a connection. Keep practicing, keep talking, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye, everyone. See ya.